Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soulful Abundance with Chris Williams. I am Chris Williams, and I'm super excited to have one of my dear friends and one of my coaches. She is a fabulous marketing strategist for coaches. Sophia, I'm just so glad to have you here so that we can talk about all things simplification and kind of, what are the most important things to focus on right now, where we are seeing coaches getting stuck on their way to trying to create a fabulous business, but just like really struggling with I'm not sure what I'm supposed to even be focusing on right now in 2025 because it's so freaking wonky out there. What
It
is
is,
happening?
it's so wonky out there. I love that. Yes. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you back again. You're just so brilliant, and I just love how what it is that you teach is so specific and it's so clear and it's so structured that it really gives, coaches some organization, especially when we're just starting to, grow our business. There's so much that we think that we have to be doing. And really what you do so beautifully and so well is really speak into what, the most important parts are. Because I know I see my clients getting overthinking, overcomplicating the process. And so I really just want to open up our conversation today to kind of talk about what is it that you're seeing. You have done multiple things, throughout your career, starting as owning your own marketing agency and now, being a marketing strategist for coaches. So do you want to share a little bit about what you see going on right now or?
Oh gosh. It's almost like, what do you see? What do you not
I know.
what don't you see? It's like, I feel like everyone's having an identity crisis.
Oh my God, there's so many people burning stuff down. I'm like, wait, what? I thought you were doing this thing now. Now
Yeah.
you're doing this thing. I'm so confused. What are you doing?
Yeah, totally. Okay. I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing that I am seeing, I think, well, first of all, I couldn't tell you exactly what month this started to change, but I do feel like in the last 8 to 10 months, we have really, a lot has changed in the market in terms of how people want to buy from you, how long it actually takes for them to build that trust with you so that they feel confident and comfortable buying from you. And also, I think our messaging has had to change, regardless of what we do, because of the presence of AI as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
people have, as in our clients, right? Unfortunately, I think our coaching in a lot of circumstances has become devalued because
Mhm.
people think that they have access to what we do through AI, whether
Mhm.
it be, the copywriters who now are in competition with the robot because everyone thinks, oh, all I have to do is go to ChatGPT and write this email or sales page. I don't really need this copywriter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a strategist, all I
Mhm.
have to do is go in and say, this is what I'm trying to do. What's a strategy? I
Yep.
mean, every people think AI has no bounds, but the truth is, in the work that I do, I often see what people get from ChatGPT, especially from a strategy standpoint, because that's what I do. And I can tell them, well, this isn't actually a complete strategy. I can tell them exactly where it's going to fall off the rails, but
Yeah.
they are so unaware, right? There's a knowledge gap here, right?
Yes.
They're so
Yes.
unaware of actually what's a good strategy that they just think it's a great strategy. So they think they don't need a strategist and they just go forth with what AI has given them. But it's a very incomplete picture. So
Yeah.
the people that I actually see benefiting from AI are actually the people that have been doing this for a really long time and they know the difference between crap and
Yeah.
legit good stuff,
Yeah.
or they know how to coach AI and ChatGPT to get to that thing, right? So
Hmm.
even with the sales of AI prompts and things like that, which PS, in some ways I love, right? Because I even am building things like that. So it's I love all that stuff. I love simplifying and systematizing and getting a bot to help us cut time in half. I love the idea. But the people that really, really benefit from that stuff are the people that know what they're doing because they know the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm
And
doing the same thing for sure.
and it's hard for us, right, from a selling standpoint, because now we have to change our messaging to address this. We have to speak directly to it so people really understand the difference between
Hmm.
what we do, whoever it is out listening, and what's on ChatGPT. And
Mhm.
also, we have had to kind of change our sales process slash even adjust our prices
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
people just are not willing sometimes to pay those higher prices
Yeah.
right now. I
Yeah.
think it'll change again, but right now we're still figuring out what AI can and can't do. And a lot of our pricing has been, or our coaching has been devalued, which
Mhm.
is a hard thing. I've changed my
Yeah.
pricing structure on my membership, for example, to speak to these changes. And it killed my soul in the beginning because I was like, oh my God, the amount that is in here that I feel like I'm now giving away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm responding to a market. You know what I mean? And I just have to be open to that.
Mhm.
Anyways, all that to say, those are the biggest things I've seen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely we're seeing, and you and I have talked about this, even on our own private conversations about, the trust recession that's out there because also of AI, right? Nobody
Yeah.
knows if what it is that somebody is writing is not only made by somebody else who's not a real person, but is it even real? Like, is
Yeah.
the facts in the message even real? I mean, we saw that recently in the US's political climate, with, multiple studies that our health department put out that wasn't even a real study. It was just something that ChatGPT made up. And I'm like, oh my God. So,
Oh my God. Okay, I
yeah.
live in England, so I hadn't heard about that. That is insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're like, they put out like this big message. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get myself, like flagged or anything. But yeah, there was like yeah, where they referred to like three studies. They're like, where did you find these studies? And they're like, oh, well, ChatGPT gave us these studies, and it's like, yeah. And guess what? They're not real. They are just like
Oh my
made up
God.
examples that ChatGPT gave. So you really, the trust recession happens on multiple levels. It's people don't know if they can believe what it is that they see anymore, what they hear
Yeah.
anymore, whether or not, the coach that they're listening to is even real because there's been so much again crazy messaging and or they've purchased something in the past and they haven't gotten the results so they've bought into messaging that wasn't really true to the
Mhm.
result or the promise that they could walk away with. And so yeah, we're just seeing that the level of trust that people need now before they can be a buyer doesn't mean that they're not going to buy. It just means that they need to spend more time with your brand, with your messaging, and to actually have an experience with you, which is one of the things that I love about your membership is that you give people a way to step in and really have a live experience with you. This isn't like a DM
Yeah.
course that people are like left on your own. It's like, yeah, you are giving a ton of value in there, which is what people are looking for, but you're also giving people a chance to connect with you. So you build that trust so they can actually see that you're a person, that you know what it is that you're doing, that you can share and help them to create wins really, really quickly. And that hasn't actually been part of our business model in the past, right? It's
Mm.
been either invite them into something free and nurture them and sell them into a higher ticket,
Yeah.
or just go all in on low ticket, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just whatever your business model is. But gosh, it's just like we really do have to shift with
Yeah.
what is happening right now and where people's minds are and where people's, what are they looking for? What is the experience that they want right now?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that as you're talking, I'm remembering that, like, yeah, I mean, you're right that like something that I did really build into Pocket SEMA was a lot of connection to me, and one of the big reasons that I did that was because of AI. Like, I felt like that human connection was really necessary. I was getting a lot of feedback about people being like, I'm leaving memberships right now because like I really miss like actually talking to the person
Yeah,
who like knows their stuff and not just like
yeah,
reading their PDFs, and I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I so get it. And I feel like part of that was actually because of AI. They're like, they feel like they
Mhm.
can get all that stuff in AI. The
Yeah,
difference is that like communication, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that's actually one of the reasons why, and you know about this offer, but like why I created the Ask. I mean, it's called Marketing Lab, but it's kind of like an Ask Me Anything offer, and it's like literally this membership where the only thing I give is that you can ask me questions. There's nothing. There's no templates, there's no trainings, there's nothing. It's literally just like you got a question, go into this place designed for you, ask me a question. I don't put parameters on it. I don't say
Yeah.
you only have X number of questions. But the reason I did that is for people to really see the difference between speaking to me versus going into ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because technically, you have the same, like you can go to ChatGPT and ask questions as well whenever
Yeah.
you want. Or
Yeah.
you could try me and let's just see the difference in the answers.
Yeah.
And it's so different. It's so,
Oh,
so different.
totally. Yeah. ChatGPT, everybody, like, write this down. ChatGPT is not your business coach. It's not your
Yeah.
marketing strategist. It is a great place to go for ideas.
Yeah.
Get ideas for titles or names or ideas to kind of, lay things out. But it is not, the end point for guiding you
No.
on exactly, what strategy you should be implementing in today's market. Like, you really want to be listening to somebody who's on the ground, doing the thing, getting the
Yeah.
results, getting the feedback, seeing what's going on, and it's a real person.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, and I never ever thought that that would be the thing that like like that we'd be
I
talking
know.
about like like how do you give them an experience of talking to someone? It's like what? Like it's
I
just
know.
we're just in
Right.
such a strange time to be honest, but
It is so crazy. I want to kind of switch just, from AI and, kind of where, and hopefully this is really helpful for our listeners to be like, oh, okay, yeah. So probably need to look at that a little bit, more closely. And
yeah.
oh, one other example I wanted to share about this, because my son even was like, he's visiting me from Colorado. He is actually working on his master's in forestry science, and he also had to like find like studies. And we were talking about that, and he's like, Mom, you know what? Sometimes, it just pops me out something that I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I need. And I go there, and it's like, not a real study. It's like, there is no study there. And I'm like, so it's so fascinating that, no wonder, there's so much lack of trust, is because that even the stuff that we think should be real isn't,
Yeah.
and so we're seeing that across multiple places. So we just,
Yeah.
again, use it for ideas, but don't rely on it. Like, you might not get a study that you're looking for. It might not actually be real. The testimonial that it gives you might not be real. The website information, again, check it out first before you share it, or, whatever.
Yeah.
And definitely tweak it to your own language. I think that, especially the people like you, in the market, we can read, messaging and see that, oh, okay, so that was a ChatGPT
For sure. Yeah.
copy and paste versus ChatGPT that you're actually like, okay, and I really need to, expound more here, or add a story
Oh,
here, or
yeah.
elevate here.
That is something people really need to understand. Like, honestly, if you're copying and pasting your what ChatGPT gives you, you're probably not doing enough. Like it
Yeah.
for me, it takes many drafts. Like I do use ChatGPT with copy. I absolutely get ideas. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, I get tired too, and it's just great
Yeah,
to kind of take that initial lift off of my brain. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So, but I edit the crap out of what it gives me because it is very rarely good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
So if
totally.
you're not doing that or don't see what you need to edit, chances are, right, unless you've been using ChatGPT for a very long time and it's so trained on your voice and it's this and that, like
Mhm.
maybe if you've gotten to that point with your bot, you don't need to do as many edits. But like for most of us, we're not there
Mhm.
yet. The ChatGPT
Yep,
hasn't been around for that long.
yep, yep,
And you should be editing it multiple times. So if you look at it and you don't actually see any edits,
yep.
that's probably more of a question of how well do you know your messaging? How well do you know your client? You know what I mean? Because it's so
Yes.
rare that you do not have to go back and forth with it. It's so, so, so rare. So just a
Yeah.
little PSA.
Hey, such a good tip for sure. So let's talk about simplicity, because that's the other piece is, we've talked about lack of trust, what, AI, and then, how, when we bring back to simplicity and systems and structure in your business, how things begin to flow more easy. So could you share a little bit about kind of where you see are the most important places to really simplify in your business, especially for coaches that are just starting? And like, what are the most important systems to get dialed in first?
Yeah, I mean, I feel I could really go in so many different directions
Yeah.
here. The two that are really calling my name at the moment are in what you sell, right? Like I think people are really overcomplicating sometimes their offer,
Yes.
also like it's almost like actually I was just speaking to someone recently and I asked her what her offer was. And like let me tell you, this person doesn't even have clients yet. So I was expecting one thing. She
Yeah.
had like seven. And I was like, I don't even have seven things. Like, why do we have seven things that you're selling? Like, no
Yeah.
wonder you're feeling overwhelmed inside of your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
No wonder
Yeah.
you can't get clients. No wonder this is a struggle for you. Like, I feel like that's a big, big, big one. We really like first of all, like I don't typically, I mean, sometimes the offer is wrong and you need to adjust the offer. Sure, there's that.
Yeah.
But also, I think like I don't know that you should really ever build a second offer until your first offer is selling. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's really a question of refining it, like really digging deep into it. If you've done the market research to know that this is what people want anyway,
Yeah.
and it's been validated because you've done that market research, then don't skip on it and go somewhere
Yeah.
else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not going
Yeah.
to be the problem. The problem is
Yeah.
going to be rooted in that offer, and and you just need to stick with it longer, right? And
Yeah.
before you
Yeah.
bounce.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same with marketing. You know,
Hmm.
I think people are jumping from platform to platform. I think they're also sometimes like just trying really hard to be someone else. You know what I mean? They see that influencer and they're like, "Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing." So then
Hmm.
they just really try to replicate that. But
Hmm.
that person's been in business a long time and now
Yep.
it just won't work. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so
They've
I
got a bigger
think
audience or their ideal client is way completely different or yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah. And I think like I mean again, we could like go in so many directions here. But if there was the next question from anyone listening is probably like, oh shit, that's me. Like
Hmm.
maybe either you've got a shit ton of offers or you're like trying to market in so many different containers or ways and you
Right.
don't know which one you're so because you thought that's what you're supposed to do, probably. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah.
writing to my email list, I'm on social media, I'm on podcasts, I'm
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like you're not that you've been in business maybe not that long
Yeah.
and none of it's really working. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like, what do you actually do? And I mean, first of all, like, I feel like the first thing that I would say is always reverse engineer from what you sell, you know? Like, so for example, if you have a one on one coaching offer, right? Like, yes, the size of your list always matters in lots of ways. Like there's an argument for that, right? Yes, we
Right.
have to be selling to a certain number of people. We should always be growing our list. Understood. But also, when you are selling one on one, what really matters is the relationship you have with your list,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
if we are reverse engineering from what we sell, and we know that in order to sell this one on one coaching offer, we need to build a relationship, that's
Hmm.
probably also how you should grow your community, right?
Yeah.
Through
Yeah.
relationships. So
Yes.
sometimes that looks like slower growth because that's not necessarily the priority as much as the relationship of the person coming into the community. So
Hmm.
that now your growth strategies shift, right? Now you might be growing your community through referrals. You might be growing your community through signature talks and things like that.
Yep.
Because again, people are coming through after already listening to you talk for an hour. They're just like a different level than if they come
Yep.
through like an ad, as an
Yeah.
example.
Oh,
You know what I
totally.
mean?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel
Absolutely.
like that's a good starting point
Yeah. Love
to
that.
just simplify, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. Simplify your offer and simplify, how you're growing your audience so that you can be really, really clear on if you're growing your audience. I talk about, going deeper instead of wider, especially when we're first starting, right?
Yes.
Like find, a place that you love to be, right? We can customize it. It doesn't mean that, you have to be on all of the things, but you do need to find a place where your ideal client is hanging out and
Yeah.
delivering it in a way that feels really, really, good to you. And take that and stick with it for a while. Give it a
Yeah.
chance to actually work because I don't know what you've been hearing, but what I've been hearing is that now we're seeing that it takes up to 11 hours of connection with people before they can become a buyer with you, 20 to 40 touch points. And I'm like, oh my God. And oh my gosh, what was the other thing I was going to say about that? Oh my God, that totally like left my brain. Oh, 6 months, 6 to 12 months. But in your what I like to call ecosystem, because there are,
Hmm.
they're seeing you in different places. So yes, there is always going to be a percentage of people that are ready to go right now. I actually just
Yeah.
had a client who just enrolled in one of my private containers. She came to my master class. She was ready. She was like, I'm all in. You're exactly what I'm looking for. There's always going to be a certain percentage there, but I find that the bigger percentage, like the 70%, of people that are in my ecosystem are taking a lot longer.
Yeah, I am seeing that as well. But it's interesting, like something that, I was just having a conversation with someone else recently, and she was saying she's not been in business that long, but and what I'm noticing that she's doing because of all this information about like how like the runway, the trust recession and the
Yeah.
runway, how long it needs to be, which
Oh,
again,
yeah.
you and I are listening to it too.
Yep.
It's valid concerns. You do have to make adjustments,
Yep.
of course. However, something I always tell people is like, don't forget to sell to the people that are ready, not just the
Yes.
people who aren't ready. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. 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 Oh, I just had a conversation with my client about that. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
you were trying to sell to a cold audience right now. Like that's
Yeah.
like, let's rein that in. Like that is
Yeah.
a relationship that needs to be nurtured. Sell to the people who are in your warm audience right now that are ready. Yeah.
Right. And when you do that, like you make decisions differently, right? Because like I
Mhm.
see this with a lot of people, like actually on our group coaching call yesterday, where I know you were on, we had someone ask a question and she didn't want to reach out to give personal attention to people that were clicking on her links because she was afraid that would freak them out or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, but you're literally offering free support. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if someone gets freaked out by free support, they're like for whatever reason, they're just not for you. And we can't really
Mhm.
make decisions for their comfort level. We have to make
Exactly.
decisions for the people that are craving that support.
Mhm.
And because you give them that free support, they're going to want more support because they are on the lookout for it. Like they're
Yes.
literally looking for it. That's why they're on your
Yeah.
email list, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the people we have to make decisions for.
Mhm.
And because again, those are our clients like today and next week versus a year from now. And
Yep.
again, it doesn't
Yes.
mean that we can't all like also you and I both know that we have lots of nurturing systems for everyone else. Like
Mhm.
we have
Mhm.
lots of ways to stay in our community and be nurtured
Mhm.
and not feel like you're being sold to all the time. Tons of
Exactly.
ways. We overgive if anything,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But that doesn't mean for the people that aren't like ready now that we're not going to also sell because we
Yes.
have to.
Yes.
Like
And you can do
for
that
them and
every
for
day.
us. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. It's identifying like, okay, who really is here now that you could actually help them create, a whatever it is. I mean, sometimes it's actually, current clients that I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's, help you do this quicker,
Yeah.
instead of, spending, the next month on, 3 group calls. How about we dive in and like do this in a power hour or do this in a half
Yeah.
day or something, right? So I love the way that you're talking about, who is here now, and then, taking it even to that next step of identifying, well, how could you actually help them get the result quicker? Right.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a current client. Sometimes it's somebody who's hanging out now that you've just been in conversation with and in relationship with. And honestly, for me, that takes the pressure off needing to try to like close the deal or,
Yeah.
like I got to get the client like off my shoulders because I truly am like you do, lead with value and lead
Yeah.
with, a specific intention of, hey, I really want, I see you, I hear you, I want to help you, do this quicker. This may or may not be a good fit, but, would love to just like share the details with you and see if this is something that
Yeah.
will support you where you are versus trying to spend so much time convincing or persuading a cold lead that they should be buying your thing right now. That's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I like because I just came off a launch, so it's like like a mini launch. I wouldn't say it was an official launch, but it was like a really small, quiet launch, And well, I found it so fascinating. I almost wanted people. I wished that there was like all my clients reading my emails with me because it was so
I'm
fascinating.
reading them.
It was so fascinating. There was like people were replying to my personal outreach, right? And some of them were joined my membership Pocket SEMO, and some of them didn't, right? But no matter what, whether they joined or they didn't, they said something along the lines of like, gosh, I'm so grateful for your generosity. I'm so grateful for how you always remember me. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for how you make sure that I'm aware when your offer's open. And I'm literally like, people are scared to send these emails when
Mhm.
actually this is the simplest way to sell.
Yeah.
And whether people buy or not, they're receiving me in gratitude, not
Yeah.
like, God, that's weird that you emailed me. Like, God,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? That's not the reaction I've ever received. And that's what
Me.
people seem to be afraid of. It's just a
Yeah.
very fascinating thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's the perspective of, when we get in our own way of making it mean something, number one, that it doesn't mean, right? We're making up a
Yeah.
story because we're afraid of what somebody else is thinking about us versus why don't we put the focus on them and make the focus on the value and the generosity that we can give them, and let it go of any of this other noise and nonsense that, oh, they think I'm just trying to make a sale. Well, you are in business. Like, this
Yeah.
is a business. Like, you have to invite them to the party. You have to let them
Yeah.
know how they can actually work with you. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. And we're not trying to drag anybody across the finish line either. We're just like saying, hey, the party is this date, this time. You want to come? Great. Not, you don't want to come this time. You can't make it this time. No worries. Maybe we'll see you next time.
Yeah, 100%. And not to mention, like, don't forget, they are there for a reason as well. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, they're looking for help,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
why wouldn't we give them help?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
actually feel like in a lot of ways that's actually that would be worse to
Yeah.
not even receive their call for help and do something about it.
Oh my
You
God,
know?
absolutely. Yeah. I call it abandoning our clients on Pain Island, or our potential clients on Pain Island, right? They're
Oh
they're sitting
God.
there, they've got a struggle, right? We know
Yeah.
that they want to go over here to Pleasure Island, right? There's this gap. They're not really sure how to go from here to here. And we're just
I like
going,
that.
But we never actually give them an opportunity to like get off the Pain Island and
Yeah.
actually hop into the boat and actually sail across to where, their transformation is, because we're worried about what we're making it mean about us in our head. That actually
Yeah.
isn't even something that they're thinking about either. They're probably worried about what you're thinking about them.
Totally. Oh my God, I say that all the time. I'm like, what's the quote I always say? It's something like if you're like afraid of people judging you, don't worry. They're too busy judging themselves.
Yes. Oh my
Which
gosh.
is like truly
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
Even for I'm the same. I mean, we all are we do that.
We're
We judge
human.
ourselves all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But I truly do not think of other people in a negative way ever because as I just said, I'm probably too self-conscious about my own shit. Do you know what I mean? Like the things I'm self-conscious about are taking up too much room in my head. Like, don't worry, I'm not
Right.
thinking about you in that
Right.
way. If anything, I'm probably
Exactly.
like, thank you for taking this off my plate. Thank you for bringing
Yeah.
this to my attention. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me. Thank you for following up. Like,
Yes.
because I'm so freaking busy, I'm just grateful when people remember me,
Oh,
you
oh
know?
my gosh. I have to like triple click on that, because I just having a conversation with this inside of my own Activate Abundance program on Wednesday about it. And I'm like, y'all, I needed somebody to come help me wash the windows in the house, right? Like, in the South, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm in
Yeah.
North Carolina. The pollen is crazy. We have not had the inside or the outside of the windows washed for a long time. I don't have the time to do it myself. My husband is like, hell no for that. So I'm like, all right, I am going to, reach out and try to find somebody to help me wash the window. So I reached out. He got back to me. I was busy. I was traveling. This person reached out to me 7 or 8 times to follow up because I had reached out first. He got my business. He got my
Yeah.
business. Why? Because it wasn't like I was not, wanting to follow up. It was that I was like, I am so busy. And when he did follow up, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's right. I have to get to you. And it's that,
Yes.
I am right now, I'm not able to like get back because I've got something else going on. But if he had just followed up once, he would not have my business today. Like
No.
I need it and I was thankful for it. Like I wasn't like, oh my God. I was actually like, dude, thank you. Like you're giving me some actually really
Yes.
good content too. I'm like, you're following up. This is great. I know you actually want my business. I know you actually want to serve me. Like I know that you're going to follow up
Yeah.
with me. And if you're going to go through following up with me 7 times like that, I actually trust you more. And I'm probably I
Yes.
also believe that he was going to come and do an amazing job for me too.
That's the message I get as well. And
Yeah.
I just was hiring a VA. I mean, I'm hiring some extra help because I'm going on some like maternity time. I don't know that it's like official leave, but it's like definitely like I'm taking some time to myself. And and yeah, and I needed to hire extra help like desperately.
Yeah.
And that I had two candidates I really liked. One followed up with me once. And P.S. I've been really bad at the email game because I've had so much to do. So this other poor gal followed up with me pretty much every other day for like the 10 days that it was taking me to get back to all these applicants.
Yeah.
And guess who I hired, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I hired her, well, I'm sure the other one was just trying not to annoy me, but actually what ended up happening, I was just like, this person is going to do a fucking good job. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
she is in it to win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
wants to deliver. She wants to show me that she's committed. She wants this job. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I barely even had to compare the two in terms of their portfolios and stuff. I was like, I just know
Yeah. Yeah.
she's it. So
Yeah.
easy, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's because she emailed me every other day instead of just like once because she was afraid to annoy me. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's actually a gift to follow up with people because they really do. First of all, if they didn't click on they are in your email for a reason. They clicked on the link for a reason. They joined your thing for a reason to learn. And, it is important that, if you take anything away from here, simplify, but also follow up. Follow up
Yeah.
with people. Like it is truly just a story that you're annoying them.
Yeah. And not to mention, I feel like a lot of those things are actually like the simplest way to market. A lot of people don't even look at that as marketing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But actually like truly following up,
Yeah.
like like looking at your client list. We were recently talking about this, you and I. Like looking at your client list and like identifying like who's about to renew, who needs an
Yep.
upgrade, like what do they need, what are they going to need next? Looking at past discovery calls that haven't converted, like looking at people in like lower ticket offers that
Mhm.
like they need more attention, they want more support, maybe they're showing signs of that, reaching out
Yep.
to them and say, hey, I've noticed something, do you
Yes.
want to talk about this other offer because I feel like that there's some extra support there that you're not getting in this one and I want you to have it. There's
Yes.
so many ways
Yep.
to simplify getting a client.
Yep.
And it is not, I have another client right now who is obsessed with getting her quote unquote social media strategy dialed in. And I'm like, girl, like, why are we making this so hard on ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we have a long list of ways we can get she's looking for 10 clients. And I'm like,
Hmm.
there's a long list of ways to get 10 clients that have
Yep.
nothing to do with social media that are going
Yep.
to get those clients way faster than posting 5 times a day on social media with some
Yep.
crazy, I don't know. She just gave me a really insane strategy. And I was like, why are we doing this? Let's talk
Yeah.
about overcomplicating it. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
I am a former social media strategist. So it's like I could so easily just preach the social media thing because I have years of experience in it. I have mountains of templates and strategies I could give people.
Yep.
But if we're talking about simplifying, don't fucking do that. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just going to blow your brains out. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
especially if that's what you're trying to do, like fill a roster of like 10 people or something like that. If you are
Right.
selling like a $27 course, and you need to have like thousands of buyers every year in order to like make whatever money you want to make, right? Like I might change the strategy a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I will think big, I will think more in numbers and things like that. Like
Yep.
I
Yep.
will adjust it. Again, reverse engineer from what you
Yep.
are selling,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And then the simpler way will actually be some bigger efforts like hosting bundles and using social media and collaborating on social. Like those will actually be the simpler efforts for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For sure.
But for so many of us, that's just not the case. And we are actually mismatching the strategies with the offers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if we can figure out that step, it
Yeah.
can truly map out a marketing system for you that makes way more sense, is way more doable. And you probably don't even need, like a lot of people are like, oh, I have to hire a social media manager. No, that's the other thing. You can cross out all of those things that you have to quote
Yes.
unquote do
Yeah.
and just and get the job done,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For
went on a
sure.
different rant.
Yeah. And I think, especially when we're looking at kind of what is the long game, right? Like if we're looking to bring in 10 clients right now, then you're not just going to be posting on social media and trying to convert a cold lead to a buyer from social media posts. That's actually not the purpose of that anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's, there are, you and I talk about growing your audience, nurturing your audience, and selling to your audience as well of those buckets. And what I see that as is getting more eyeballs on you, but that isn't necessarily what is converting, right? What
Yeah.
converts is who do you know right now who already knows you, likes you, loves you, trusts you, that you can just help them get a win quicker. Like start there. Start there.
Yeah.
If we're about creating cash in your business and you're like, yep, I need 10 clients right now, like let's do that. Let it for now. And then you can build out a longer term strategy based on what you were just talking about, the reverse engineering, so that we can then bring new leads in, nurture them, and then, again,
Exactly.
into that purchase for sure. Sophia, this
Yeah.
is so awesome. Oh my God, I feel like I could like talk to you for hours and hours about all this stuff. I'm such a geek on marketing and client support and building relationships and all of the fun stuff. So you've got some really cool things for us, some really cool gifts
Mm.
that you're extremely generous. And so I just want to have you, share a little bit about. I know one of them is your podcast, it's a secret podcast. So will you tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So the first thing is a secret podcast. It's called For the Love of Marketing. We just wrapped up season one, and it was such a fun podcast to record because each episode is 15 minutes long,
Mhm.
and it is identifying like a specific formula for something. So we have formulas for storytelling. We have formulas for like sales pitches. We have formulas for like the very specific email that one gal writes every single launch to highly increase your conversion rate. So it's like very like
Mhm.
pinpointed things that people do that are working inside of their business and or their marketing right now in a market like this, in fact. And they just outline it in 15-minute episodes. So it like you can
Love
binge it
that.
in like a couple hours and there's some really good stuff in there. So that's called For the Love of Marketing. And then I also had a second thing that I think, again, on the theme of simplifying, is something everyone must do. It's a video I created. It's about 20 minutes long. It's called Why I Took a Step Back from Social. And again, I gave a little bit of backstory earlier, but I am
Mhm.
a former social media strategist. So when I announced that I was no longer using social media to grow my business, people were like, wait, what just happened? Like, why? So I did a video of how I looked at actually a lot of what we talked about, reverse engineering from what you sell and looking
Mhm.
at your data and understanding where you're growing and what those pieces, like how they work together. It's a
Mhm.
20-minute video show so that you can do that work as well and find out if you as well might want to cut social media or more specifically and more likely just change how you use it.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah, yeah.
probably the problem. You're
Yep.
just using it the wrong way. And if you know how to use it, it can be a lot more effective for you and simple. So that's
Okay.
the second gift.
So good. Oh my gosh. And I've seen both of these. You guys definitely click the link in the description, whether you're watching on YouTube or grab it in the show notes in our Apple iTunes podcast there. Go grab it. It's so valuable. You will absolutely get so much value out of anything that Sophia is sharing with you. It's so good. And then we will also share, ways that you can connect with Sophia on, social media. So she's on Instagram. You can definitely pop in there. I know she reads her emails. She will respond to you like she is a real person. Like she doesn't have like this giant team in the background pretending to be Sophia. It's really her. So, definitely go check her out. And thank you so much for just sharing your brilliance and your generosity today. Appreciate
Oh, thank you
it.
so much for having me. It was so fun.
Yay! Awesome. All right, get the links, everybody, and then we will see you back here next time. And have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye.